Okay, so we're gonna. Hi, Kevin. You okay? We're going to talk today about stop losses and their importance and how to set them and what you need to do with a stop loss. So I'm going to put that here. Okay, share that one. Right then. So we're working on the Binance Live signals. We've currently got an exit signal at 8238. So if we look at the current signal, 8238. Was some, what, $60 ago, $40 ago, $50 ago? $50 ago. And we agreed on that?
Yep.
So we got the sell signal at around about, which should have been an exit. Let me just reduce this a little bit. We'll go to the hour one. So don't be paying too much attention to what I'm doing. I'm trying to explain the reason for a stop loss, really. Just, it goes really, really slow when we're on Zoom. So you're gonna have to bear with me. Okay. So 8237 was 823 was about there. We agreed.
Yes.
Okay. And what time was the signal? Do we know?
7:37, I think.
Sorry?
7:37, I think.
7:37. Okay. So 7:37 was around about here. Now, shall I go and explain this a little bit in more detail so that you understand what I'm talking about? Let's risk it. Let's risk it. Let's have a little look at this then. Let's go to the 5-minute charts.
7:27, Dan.
7:27 a.m. this morning. Okay. Come on. $7.27. You know what? I'm going to do it this way instead because I'm thinking. Okay, so 7:27 this morning. 7:27 was here. Are we agreed on that?
Yep.
Right, now, so we got a sell signal at 8238. So we've got to ask ourselves, why is there a sell signal? Well, I don't want to get into too deep into it, but what we've got here is there's a little harmonic pattern happening here. And what we've got is we've got some sort of resistance. So if we take a line here, for example, there, what we've got is it went through and then it bounced along, tried to go higher, it couldn't, and then it burst through this line here, this support line. It went down and it came back up again, and it hit its head and it came back down again. It's tried to have a little go again, failed. It tried to have a little go again, it hit its head and it's come down. It's gone back up again and it's hit its head and it's come down. So what we've got now is we've got what they call a resistance line. So now the candles are trying to bust through this line. And the reason why it went red is because it said, well, it can't go through that line. It's struggling to get through that line. It's struggling to stay above this line. So the market's probably changing and it's going to go short. So that's why the signal was triggered at 8238. But what's happened? The reality is, so the signal was fired about here, and then a lot of momentum in this particular candle took a run up and it hit its head, but that momentum was still, that energy in this candle here was still in this candle and this candle, and in this candle it bust through. So there's no tail on this candle at all. So it bust through, and now it seems that what we've got is a little bit of support, but it's not yet being confirmed because it came back through and it's switched, and what's happening is it's bouncing along this line. So that's why we've got a sell signal. So there's a lot of things telling us that let me see if I can show you something else. Let's have a look at something else. Can we put on here Bollinger Bands? Bollinger Bands. Okay. So what we've got here is these are called Bollinger Bands, and you've got the trade hitting down, going up, and then so this is like it's like a funnel. And what happens is the trade bounces in between the funnel. So you can see the blue lines and the blue shade, and the trades bounce in between these what they call Bollinger Bands. And what you've got is you've got a constriction here. So it's getting really, really tight. So we don't really know what's going on. It's getting tight. The range within the trades is getting squeezed and squeezed and squeezed. So there's a number of indicators which say that it's going to sell. So that's why the signal has come through at a sell of 8238. So we should now be in US dollars. We should now be in US dollars. How do I get back now? And I am in US dollars. So there's my US dollars there. But as we've seen, there's every possibility that the trade could go up as well. So we had that resistance line and it was bouncing along it. It's not confirmed that the price is going to go up rather than down. So what we need to do is we need to hedge against that. We need to kind of protect ourselves to make sure that in the event that the Bitcoin does go up in value, that we're in Bitcoin. So what we need to do is we need to put, let's just give Hazel a minute here. It looks like she's lost connection there. Let's just give her a second. And while she's doing that, there she is. Will you allow me to do that on another screen? Yes, you will. Okay. I waited for you, Hazel. I've not left you behind.
Oh, thank you, Dan. Yeah, my desktop keeps, I think it's the hot weather. It just crashes out. So I'm on my laptop now.
Okay. So what we've got is we've still got these candles and they're still trying to test the level, aren't they, Sophie? If we open that window again. Okay, so look, it's still trying to come down. It's still trying to test this level again. So the bulls haven't yet got control. We're now through the 50% line on the Bollinger, and it's coming back down. It's going to test the bottom, and there's every reason why it would continue going down through our line of what we believe is resistance, and it will come back down and it will head down. So what we're saying is we're going to go into US dollars because we believe that the price of Bitcoin is going to come down. But what we need to do is we need to make sure that in the event that it does go up, we need to hedge against that. So what have we got? Well, you see this big candle here and this candle here. You've got this candle here and this candle here. So these are recent highs, especially in the last probably 12, 24 hours. So if we say that this candle here hit its head and got batted back down again, and this candle hit its head, got batted back down again, this candle hit its head and got back down again, and this candle hit its head and got back down again, is it fair to say there's another possible resistance line here? Is that fair to say? Because we've got a candle here and a candle here and a candle here. So we've probably got another probably support or resistance line around about $8,314. And if it busts through that line, there's every possibility that the value of Bitcoin could go back up. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that if it does go through that line and that becomes a support line, then we are on the opposite side of the trade and we're in Bitcoin. Is anybody not with me so far? Everybody's got it.
Yeah, all good for me.
Caroline?
Yeah, I think so.
You with me?
Yep.
Right. So what we're going to do...
I'll catch up. I'm just joining, but I'll catch up.
Okay, mate. All right. I am recording it, Stuart, so... Right. So what we're going to do is going to make sure that in the event that Bitcoin does switch direction, that we can catch the value of Bitcoin going up. And that's the whole point of a stop limit. So we're currently in a sell position. So we've sold our Bitcoin and we've converted it into US dollars. So if the price of Bitcoin does go up in value, oh God, I can't believe it. Give me a sec, guys, sorry. So we want to make sure that if the value of Bitcoin goes, so I'm going to draw this line in here maybe. I'm going to say for safety's sake, I'm going to say probably about here, maybe. I'm going to draw a line in here just for demonstration purposes. Okay. So what we're saying is that if Bitcoin goes up and it busts through this line, then quite safely, that candle didn't manage it, that candle didn't manage it, these candles didn't manage it, and this one hasn't managed it so far. But what we want to make sure is that if it does bust through this line here, that we are in Bitcoin. We've bought Bitcoin. Does that make sense? Yeah? Everyone's okay with that? Good. Okay. So here's what we're doing. So we're currently in US dollars and we've sold our Bitcoin. So what we need to do is we need to set what they call a stop limit. And a stop limit is almost like an order. And what it does is it tells Binance that in the event that Bitcoin has moved in or hit a particular level, We want you to carry out a particular action that we've stated. So let's just look at what we're going to do. We're saying that if Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin goes as high as this price, we don't want to be in US dollars anymore. We want to be in Bitcoin, don't we?
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's what we want to do. We want to tell Binance that when we're asleep tonight, if Bitcoin goes to 8353, we want to sell all of our US dollars and we want to convert it into Bitcoin. That's what we want to do. So 8353. So we're going to do a stop limit, and we're going to tell Binance that at 8353, come on. There you go. 8353. We want Binance to place a limit order. So does everybody know the difference between a limit order and a market order?
Yep.
Yes?
Yes.
I'm not, yeah, I mean, I've
I'm
looked.
so glad you said that, Caroline.
Why?
Because, well, one, you're truthful and honest. And I need people to understand what there's no point in playing with a stop limit order if you don't know the difference between a limit order and a market order, which is why in the past I've tried to not confuse you, because I need you to understand what a limit order and what a market order is in order to understand what a stop limit is. All right?
Like, I understand what a market order is, and I've tried to sort of sort out in my head what a limit order is, but if I'm honest, I'm not 100%.
Okay. Explain to me what a market order is.
It's at that current price that the market is doing the trade or the sell or the buy, and you're buying it
This price here.
current value.
This price here.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Right. So a limit order is this. So that's the market order. That's the market price of Bitcoin. So if we want to buy Bitcoin right now, we've got to pay $82.60 for it, because that's the current price of Bitcoin. But what we're going to say here is, look, you know what? $82.60 is too expensive. I don't want to pay $82.60. I want to pay $81.60. I think $81.60 is a fair price to buy Bitcoin. So a limit order, quite simply, is this. We're going to tell the market that if the price of Bitcoin goes to $81.60, oh my God, right? I will buy some Bitcoin. So whoever's selling at $81.60, I will buy it. Whoever's prepared to sell me their Bitcoin for $81.60, I will buy their Bitcoin. So a limit order is telling the market, it's almost like putting an order in to say, look, if anyone's prepared to sell their Bitcoin for $81.60, I will buy it. And what this is looking for is what this does here is it tells the market that we're in the market to buy, but we want to buy at this price. And it will send the order out, and a seller is now looking for a buyer who is prepared to pay $81.60 for their Bitcoin. Does that make sense, Caroline?
Yes.
Absolutely makes sense.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Okay. So
just to cover that, Daniel, so even though the market's saying a certain price,
yeah.
you're saying I want to buy at a lower price than that.
Yes. Yes.
But doesn't the computerization of this determine that if there's people out there looking to sell at a lower price?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here, this here are all the sellers. So we've got sellers here who are prepared to sell at anything from 82.72 down to 82.62. And as more buyers enter the market and less sellers enter the market, so if you have more people who are looking to buy and less people who are looking to sell, what happens to the price of Bitcoin?
Goes up.
It goes up. Supply and demand. So if we've got more sellers than we have buyers, what happens to the price of Bitcoin?
It drops.
It drops, exactly. So what we're saying is when there are more sellers than there are buyers and the value of Bitcoin comes down to 81.60, we want to buy Bitcoin. That's what we're saying on our limit order.
Right.
Okay? That's what we're saying. So everybody's clear on a limit order?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So a stop limit is this. It's exactly the same as a limit order. It's exactly the same as a limit order. But here, what we're looking for is we're not looking. So in our example here, what we're doing here is we're saying that there's a possibility that Bitcoin could go up, and if it does go up, we want to buy Bitcoin because we don't want to don't want to miss the price of Bitcoin going really, really high. You know, if you missed the rise on Sunday or Monday, you'd be a little bit upset right now. So what we're saying is if we can do something where if the price of Bitcoin does shoot up like it did earlier this week, that we're on that train, we're on that rocket ship. That's what we want to do. So what we're going to do here is we're going to set a limit order. And our limit order says that if the price of Bitcoin goes up, let me start again on that. Let me start again. So if the price of Bitcoin hits 83.53, which is this line here, we want to switch from a US dollar position into a Bitcoin position. Is everybody clear on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so that's what we're doing there. Now the thing is if the price of Bitcoin is 83.53, if the current price of Bitcoin is 83.53, what you've got is you've got more, so the price of Bitcoin has actually gone up in value, hasn't it? So now what you've got is you've got less sellers and you've got more buyers, haven't you? So now you've got people scrambling over whatever Bitcoin is available to be bought up. And because you've got more buyers than you have sellers, what happens to the value of Bitcoin?
It goes up very quickly.
It goes up quickly. So, no, but not only that, the reason it's going up in value is because there's less and less Bitcoin available. So if there's less and less Bitcoin available, then the value is going up. So we want to make sure that we're buying Bitcoin, we're buying whatever Bitcoin is available to sell before anybody else buys it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if the price of Bitcoin is currently at 2229, whatever, if the price of Bitcoin is at this price, and Stuart and I want to buy Bitcoin, we want to buy a Bitcoin each, and there's only 2 Bitcoin in the market, who's going to get the Bitcoin? It's a risk, isn't it? Because either one of us is going to get the Bitcoin. But if Stuart says, well, I tell you what, the current price is 8247, I'll give you 8257 or 8267. Who is the seller going to sell to? Are they going to sell to Stuart or are they going to sell to me?
Stuart.
Why?
To you.
The higher bidder.
The higher bidder, exactly. Stuart's prepared to pay more for his Bitcoin than I am prepared to pay. Now, here's the way this works. A limit order takes the current value of Bitcoin and it takes Stuart's highest bid, which is about $20 or $30 higher than the current market value, and it finds an equilibrium, it finds a kind of an average price. So Stuart might not end up paying $30 more than me. He might only be paying $15 more than me or $10 more than me. But the point is because Stuart's prepared to pay more than I am, his order is more likely to get filled faster than my order. So Stuart's not going to miss out. I'm going to miss out. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Bill?
Yep.
Caroline?
Well, yes, but surely they would both get filled in reality, wouldn't they?
The reality is, yes, they would both get filled. However, the chances are is that Stuart's order would get filled faster than mine, and Stuart's order would get filled probably in its entirety, where there's a high probability that only my order would get filled partially. So I might still be half in Bitcoin and half in US dollars when I want to be all in Bitcoin. So by being prepared to pay that little bit more than the market price, the chances are that your order is going to get filled faster than everybody else's.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do here is we're going to say, well, at 80, we're prepared to pay 8,300 oh man, and $90.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a dear one.
I know.
70, whatever. Yeah.
I'm just going to call it $8,400. So what we're saying to Binance is, if the value of Bitcoin hits 83.53, I want you to fire off a limit order.
Right.
That's what this is.
Right.
Okay.
So
the whole point of the stop limit.
Guaranteeing a sale.
Well, you're not. Well, what we're doing is we're making sure that if the price hits, if it swings,
Yeah.
if the value of Bitcoin swings, if it swings and it goes up and it hits this, like goes through this line here,
Yeah.
we want to be in Bitcoin. So what we're doing is we're making sure that while we're asleep, if the price of Bitcoin does go up to 83.53, we want to buy Bitcoin, and we're prepared to pay $8,400 for it. Now, our order will get filled, but it won't cost us $8,400. It might cost us $83.80, $83.70, $83.60.
Right.
Okay, but what we're saying is we're prepared. It's like eBay. You know, you don't, the price that you put in there usually is not the price that you pay. You put in your highest bid, don't you, on eBay? That's what you do. And this is what we're doing here. We are telling Binance that that's our highest bid, and they will find us a seller who's prepared to pay us anything up to $8,400.
You, by doing that, you covering yourself in case it goes up quicker. So
Yes.
if it starts to fly, if you put your limit value the same as your stop value, there's a chance you'd miss out on.
Exactly, Kevin.
Okay.
Exactly. Because if it's going to go up that high, it's probably going to go higher, isn't it? And it's probably going to go up pretty quickly as well. So if I'm prepared, if I say to Binance, right, at 83.53, I want you to buy me Bitcoin. And Binance goes, right, okay, well, let me sort that order out for you then. And while it's faffing about sorting out my order, the value of Bitcoin is now $8,400. Now, who's going to sell me Bitcoin when it's worth $8,400? Who's going to sell it to me for $83.53? Nobody. So we're making sure that in the event that Bitcoin does go to 83.53, we've got an order in to say, look, I'm prepared to pay $8,400 for your Bitcoin. Okay. Now here's the important part. So we own one whole Bitcoin and we're trading one whole Bitcoin. And our current position is in Tether. All right. So we're in Tether here, and we want to be in Bitcoin. So I'm going to make sure that all of my Tether gets converted from Tether into Bitcoin. So I'm going to select 100% of my Bitcoin. Sorry, of my Tether. I want 100% of my Tether to be converted into Bitcoin. I want to get out of Tether and I want to get into Bitcoin. So I'm going to choose 100%. And I'm going to hit buy. So now Binance knows that at 83.53, I want to buy Bitcoin and I'm prepared to pay up to $8,400 for it.
Is there your sort of analogy with eBay? If I'm buying stuff on eBay, I think of what I'm going to buy it for maximum.
Yeah.
And then I go a little bit higher because I don't like round numbers, because a lot of people use round numbers. So can you use that same
Yes, you can do.
there?
You can do. I mean, to be honest with you, I've used this stop here of 83.53. I've based it on support lines and resistance lines. But the general rule that we're teaching people is between 2% and possibly 3%. So we've got to allow the market to move, because what we don't want is this. We don't want the market to spike up and then come back down again, do we? Because if it spikes up and it kicks in our stop loss and it converts us back into Bitcoin and then comes back down again, we're in Bitcoin and the value of our Bitcoin is coming down, isn't it? So we need to make sure that we're giving the market time or room to breathe. So what we should do really is, because these are the lives, we can use probably tighter stops. But at 2%, the current price is, call it $8,200. At 2%, we're going to times that by 1.02, which means that if the value of Bitcoin, that's not bad actually. If the value of Bitcoin goes to 8364, wow, how good am I? How good am I? That's a 2%. That's 2% breathing room. Does that make sense? So we're allowing the value of Bitcoin to breathe. We're allowing it to move. We're allowing it to find its support and resistance levels. But we can see here, look at that now. You see it broke back through there. It's broke back through. And then this candle here has hit its head on our support line. And this one here is hitting its head on the support, on the resistance line. This candle's now having a little go to see if it can bust through this resistance line again. And this is what it's doing. So this is why the signal for a sell in Unifii, this one here, that's why that is holding right now. Because everything's telling the market that the value of Bitcoin is going down.
Right.
Okay. So now what I've got is I'm in US dollars, and we go to orders, open orders. There is my stop limit for a buy. I'm prepared to pay $8,400.
Excuse me.
You know, let's just take a
signal just come in, chaps.
Yeah, let's have a little look.
Signal, yeah.
Got a buy now. Okay. This is brilliant. Timing could not be more perfect. So now we've got a buy at 82.34. So our signal now is saying something different. It's saying, you know what? It went through and it's bounced along and it come back down again. But this support line here, sorry, this resistance line, it's not holding. It keeps going through. It's bounced along here. It's bounced along. It's bounced along, and it's kind of gone through a little bit here. There's our 82.34. So if we draw a line there at 82.34.
I can't get a buy in. It keeps failing.
Because everybody's buying. Paying more for it. 82.34.
It's already 82.50.
Right. What we've got now. So that was the resistance line. That was the sell. You've got all these candles here trying to get through, trying to bust through this line here. I'm going to delete that one actually, just so we don't get confused. Okay. So now this line here, what was a sell signal, is now a buy signal. Why? Because what was resistance, because it kept hitting its head, coming back down, it couldn't stay above this line. Tried again, it's hit its head, come back down again. Tried again, it couldn't stay above it, so it's come back down again. So this was a resistance line. That's why it was a sell. Fast forward a little bit forward, because this is where we got our sell signal. We got it here. So it was confirmed that this line here was a sell signal. Why was it a sell signal? It was confirmed. And the reason it was confirmed, because it kept hitting its head and being back down again. Hitting its head and being back down again. Now what's happened? It went through the line this morning. And now what you've got is it's now bouncing along the top of it. It's bouncing along. It's gone through a little bit and now it's turning back up again. So what you've got is now this line has become a resistance line. Sorry, it's become a support line. It's supporting the price of Bitcoin. It's making sure that the price of Bitcoin doesn't drop below this line. You've got it there. You've got a little try there, a little try there, and a try here. So now what we've got is this line has now become a resistance line. So the signal has changed to a buy, because at 82.34, that is support. So this is now important, because what we've got here is we've got an open order and it's a stop limit. And our stop limit is to buy at $8,400. Do we want to buy at $8,400 or do we want to buy at $82.51?
Cancel your order.
Yeah, cancel your
82.51, yeah.
Cancel it. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the process. This is the process. What we did was we sold at 82.38. We sold our Bitcoin at 82.38 and we set a stop limit order for $8,400. That's what we did. So that's our current position. And what we need to do now is we need to make sure that there are no other orders going on at all. We need to clear our decks completely. And we need to make sure that Binance is going to do nothing more than the instructions that we're going to give it from this point forward. So the process that we need to adopt going forward, if we're going to use stop losses, is before we do anything at all, we need to make sure that any orders that are in here are cancelled off. Now, another reason why we need to cancel it off is this, is that this much USDT has almost been ring fenced. Binance has said, right, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to put 470 tether to one side, and I'm going to buy $8,400 worth of Bitcoin with the 470 tether that I've got. So it's ring fenced it. It's put it in a pot, which means that if I want to buy Bitcoin right now, how much money have I got in my wallet?
Nothing.
Not much.
I've got nothing. I've got practically nothing in my wallet. Why? Because it's ring fenced. It's in an order to buy at $8,400. Is that making sense?
They can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On one side of the fence or the other side of the fence.
Exactly. So we need to make sure that we clear our decks. Open orders. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. I've got loads of windows open here and I don't want it. Has there another signal come in?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, 10 o'clock. Yeah.
Isn't it saying exit now?
It's now saying exit.
10 o'clock on this side of the world, anyway.
I've got an exit on Binance 8238. Let me just refresh it. In case. Sorry, no, I just refreshed it. It's a buy.
It's still a buy.
Still the same buy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. So much faster on the phone. So is everybody still with me so far? Not lost anybody, left anybody behind?
Yeah.
No, I'm with you.
Good stuff.
All clear.
Okay, so I'm going to cancel that now. And if I go back to Exchange, go back into Basic, I should have my 470 USDT in my wallet here. There it is. And I want to buy the market.
Lucky it's dropped
Got a
25.
better price. How good's that? Lucky me.
Yeah, I bought it at 850.
That's presumably because you've just taken your money out of the equation, or is that too small to even make a difference?
It's too small to make a difference.
Okay.
Now, obviously, you can't cancel an order unless it's hasn't been done. Is that right? The open order.
The open order, I've cancelled it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't actioned.
Yeah, because it wasn't actioned, because it didn't go up above the
yes,
the limit that you set.
$400.
Yeah.
Come on, Bill's going to get a better price than me. I'm not happy about that.
Me, I bought higher than you.
Come on. Oh, I'm frustrated. Right, you know what? Gonna do it on here quick. Buy. Sorry, guys, just bear with me.
We're pretty patient people. We know the effort you put into it, Daniel, so we're pretty patient.
Thanks, mate. Success, right. Okay, so if I refresh this now. Right, so I've now got pennies in my USDT wallet, and I've got 0.057 BTC now in my BTC wallet. Happy days. So what I need to do now is, just to explain it, I want to make sure that if the value of Bitcoin does go down, that I'm what? What do I need to do?
You need to protect yourself.
Yeah. So it's interesting because that looks like, if we look at this is what's beautiful about these charts. When we get really clever, I'm going to show you what harmonic patterns are.
Where are you finding all these charts? Just fiddling around at the top of the page?
No, I'm 5 years of losing money, Caroline.
Okay.
Right. So what we've got here, this is interesting. So we've got a, what have we got? What is this line here? Tell me what it is.
The top line is the support line.
What line?
Is it?
Obviously not.
The resistance line.
There you go. Well done, Caroline. 10 points. So it's a resistance line here because it keeps hitting its head, doesn't it? It's resisting the price of Bitcoin going up in value. And then what happens is it does this.
It goes bang. Yeah.
So what is it now?
Support line.
Support line.
Support line.
So chances are that if it goes back down again, it could probably bounce off this, couldn't it?
Uh-huh.
Are we agreed on that?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what happens if it goes through it?
We want to have a stop limit in place.
Yes, exactly. We want to make sure that if it goes through it, that if this becomes a resistance line again, that we're in US dollars. So we're going to set our stop loss about 2 or 3% below our entry point. And my entry point was...
Should be nearly finished, 1 o'clock.
It was 8230, was it?
Something like that.
Something like that. Okay. So if we look at about let's see what 3% is. So 8230 times 0.97. So 3% is 7983. What's 2%? 8230 times 0.97.
That's 3% again.
9. Oh, sorry. 8230 times 3%. Oh my God. 79. Oh my. 8230 times 0.98 is $8,065. So $8,065 is $8,065 is here. That's 2%.
Wow.
So is that plenty of time or plenty of room to breathe?
That's plenty of room.
I think so. Plenty, yeah.
Plenty. Plenty. So we're going to have plenty of room to breathe, but if the price of Bitcoin moves or drops by $200, we want to make sure that we're going to be back in US dollars, don't we?
Right.
Yeah.
So what do I do?
Do a limit, you do a...
You do the same as you just did, except that you do sell.
Go on then. So
So
talk me through it. Tell me what I've got to do.
So you
do a stop limit.
you click stop limit,
Yeah.
and then in the sell BTC you put your two prices.
Mm-hmm. What am I going to do? So let's look at it again. So where we're going to choose our stop limit? Well, I've just calculated 2%. So I've seen here some support here, but 2% is down here. So that's my 2% mark. So it's 8066. That's my 2%. So what do I do?
So you put that in your stop, and then you put 3% in limit.
Yeah, you add it.
No.
You add it to the...
So we're telling Binance that if the price of Bitcoin drops to 8066, we want to sell our Bitcoin, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
So do we want to sell it if the price is dropping? What do we want to buy Bitcoin? Oh, sorry. What do we want to sell our Bitcoin? What are we prepared to sell our Bitcoin for? What's the lowest price we're prepared to sell our Bitcoin for?
8066.
8066.
Sorry?
80. Sorry.
You go ahead.
So we want to sell it. We're prepared to sell it for 8066.
But I think you'd put a 3% there in the limit, wouldn't you?
Yep.
Which is 7983.
Well done, Caroline. 7983.
Which is under the market, yeah, or not?
Sorry?
Which is under the market, yeah, is that right?
So, no, what we're going to do is, because this is an order, isn't it?
Okay.
So we're telling we're telling Binance that if the price of Bitcoin drops to 8066,
right.
Let's write these down. 8066 and 7983.
Okay.
So what we're going to tell Binance now is if the price of Bitcoin uh, 8066 okay, 8066, which I think is good. That's plenty of room to breathe. So we're telling Binance that if the price of Bitcoin comes down and it busts through this line, we want to buy Bitcoin, and we want to sell our Bitcoin, and we're prepared to sell it for
7953.
83.
83. Mm.
Is that 3% less than what you paid for it?
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
798.
And this is the opposite of what we were talking about earlier, is that
Exactly
you set it lower so that you don't miss the
yes
window.
Because what we don't want to do is if the price of Bitcoin tanks, which it can do, if the price of Bitcoin tanks, we want to make sure that we've got plenty of buyers in between this price level and this price level. So we want to make our Bitcoin as attractive as we possibly can to this price range here.
Mm.
So we want to make sure that we can sell our Bitcoin from any price between 8066 and 7986. So what we've got here is, you've got to think about this. If you've got Bitcoin and you want US dollars, you're selling your Bitcoin, aren't you? So if you're selling your Bitcoin, what's got to happen?
You've got to get out of the market.
Somebody's got to buy your Bitcoin off you, haven't they? Is that correct?
Yeah.
If you're selling your Bitcoin, somebody has to buy it off you, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Make a sale, yes.
Yes.
Is we're looking for enough people who believe that we've got it wrong, and they believe that the value of Bitcoin is going to go up, which is why they want to buy the Bitcoin.
Right.
Now, if there are not enough buyers in the market who are prepared to pay 8066, we run out of buyers who are prepared to pay 8066. So there might be buyers who are prepared to pay 8,020 for it. But then again, we might run out. So what we're looking for is anybody who is prepared to pay for our Bitcoin anything between 8066 and 7983. So there's your 2%, and there's your 3% from your entry point.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what we've got is we want to sell 100% of our Bitcoin. And there it is. So that's confirming there. If the last price drops to or below 8066 USDT, in order to sell at that much Bitcoin at the price of 7983 USDT will be placed. Place order. And there we go. It's there. Open orders. Open orders.
You can see them at the bottom of your
Oh yeah.
that window as well, can't you?
There's my open orders, my sell. To sell for a trigger condition, there it is, 8066 to sell at any price between 8066 and 7983. That's my sell order. So when the signal changes, when it goes back to a red, I need to completely clear my decks again. And I need to make sure that I cancel this and then I process my next trade. And I don't do anything until I've cancelled any open orders.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Is everybody happy with that?
Definitely. Extremely well explained, Daniel. Are you a teacher by chance?
No.
But you explain it extremely well.
Thank you, Hazel.
Very good. Yeah.
So is it a good idea to always have one of these in place?
Yes, it is a good idea. And it is when you know how to use a stop loss correctly. Because let's look at it this way. If we put a stop loss here, what's going to happen?
You can sell out too soon.
Exactly. It's too tight. It's too tight. So you're going to convert from your Bitcoin position back into US dollars. And if we're on a sell, the reason we're on a sell is because all the indicators say that the value of Bitcoin is going to go up in value. So we don't want to be in US dollars, do we? We want to be in Bitcoin if the value is going to go up. So it's about understanding how to set a stop loss properly. And the other thing as well is don't forget, because this is something else that people get confused about, is that when you're in Bitcoin, your stop limit order is to sell your Bitcoin. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you're in US dollars, to set a stop loss, it should be a buy. So you want to convert your US dollars back into Bitcoin. So think about what it is that you want to achieve. And when you realize what it is that you want to achieve, that will tell you what you need to do.
If you were only playing with 50% of your market, could you theoretically have a buy and a sell both set up?
You could do, but your net result is nil, isn't it? If you think about it.
Yeah, I guess.
It's always going to be nil. There's going to be no gain, because whatever you lose on Bitcoin, you gain in US dollars and vice versa. So the only person that wins is Binance.
Yes.
In the fee.
Yes.
But what we need to understand as well is that if you're using 25% of your wallet and you are on a buy, your stop limit, when we're setting it up, it should be 100% of your BTC. Does that make sense?
Yes.
No? Okay, well, let's look at this. So let's suppose we have one whole Bitcoin. Now, we're learning this thing. Are we going to be stupid enough to play with one whole Bitcoin while we're losing the difference between a limit order and a market order, when to buy and when to sell? No, we're not. We're going to play with about $50 worth. So we put in maybe $50 worth of Bitcoin in here. So we're only playing with $50 worth of Bitcoin. We've sold $50 worth of Bitcoin, and if we get a buy signal and we want to convert that $50 of USDT back into Bitcoin, we want to make sure that we're converting all of that $50 back into Bitcoin.
Okay.
Are you with me so far, Stu?
Yeah.
Yes. So even though we've only used a fraction of our Bitcoin and sold a fraction of our Bitcoin to test how this thing works, what we're looking at is what are we physically in now? We've got $50 worth of USDT, and we need to convert that USDT back into Bitcoin, but we want to convert the whole lot into Bitcoin. So if we want to convert the whole lot into Bitcoin, we want to convert 100% of it into Bitcoin, don't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Bill, does that make sense?
Yeah, I've been doing that, mate.
Good.
Trade one side of it to the other side of the fence. You might as well bring it back 100% over the way.
Yes.
The same way. Yeah.
Right. Where are we on now? We're on 104 now. How's everybody doing? Does everybody understand? Does everybody any more questions? We're all clear on that.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I got to go right now. Cheers.
Good. Okay, Bill. Have a good day, mate. Right.
0251.9 is the signal I just got.
Again.
8251.9 is the signal I just got for a daily on Binance.
On the dailies.
Yeah, just got it now. And I was 10 o'clock is the. Yeah. So
right, okay.
At the moment, if I'm because I just had a bit of a play the last couple of days, and it does look until you start, doing a couple of dollars here, a couple of dollars there, you don't learn anything. No, you've got to be doing it for real. You can't be playing about with this thing. You've got to understand the best way to learn is to lose money. Yeah. So, if you're going to lose money, just make it $20. Just be playing with $20. Get your head around playing with $20. And once you understand what you need to do in terms of limit, market, buy, sell, stop limit, all that sort of stuff, then we can start playing with the bigger numbers. But once you get it and once the penny drops, it's dead easy. It is. It's similar to what I found was, you're just transferring money from one bank account to whatever bank you've got. So it's very... Yeah, it is. That is, yes, to say until you start doing it. Yeah. Yeah, good. Thanks, Daniel. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Bye, guys. So appreciate that, mate.
No problem at all. If you have any questions, just PM me and I'll get them answered. But I've got to love you and leave you now.
Thanks, mate. Bye.
No worries.
Thanks a lot.
Have a great
Daniel.
day.
It's great.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Cheers.